Salam and good evening to you, worthy friends.
Welcome to Lit or Misses.
And today we're going to talk about, if it wasn't apparent by the shirt already, we are talking about the new Disney remake of Aladdin, the live-action remake.
Yep.
Yeah, we just saw it a couple days ago, and it was a lot better than we thought it was going to be.
It honestly was.
Yeah, but there were definitely some changes that, on many levels we felt that they did right, that corrected some problems that actually I had with the original.
Yes. And sometimes the things that they did to correct, let's say, plot holes in the original just kind of opened up more, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, for starters, what they did right, because it's live action, you actually need actors with the right ethnicity to play the main roles.
Yes.
Like they've had people of Egyptian descent, Indian, Iranian, and it's actually appropriate that they're not all Arabian, in my opinion, because actually the original Aladdin story, Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp, was part of a collection called The 1001 Nights, and it wasn't called The 1001 Arabian Nights until much later. That part came from Western culture.
It seems like a huge hodgepodge of different aspects of various cultures,
particularly
with some
in the Middle
Bollywood
East.
influences.
Though apparently, after doing a little more research, we discovered that some of the backup dancers and singers actually did have some brown makeups.
Yeah, oh my god, I don't know what they were thinking. Don't know why they thought it would be a good idea to do this. I thought we learned from Song of the South and, Dumbo and all of those things, but I guess not Disney.
At least it wasn't noticeable in whitewashing.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, jeez.
I don't know what to feel about this.
It's I cringe.
At least the main roles are all the right ethnicity. Well,
yes.
With the exception of Will Smith, but he's a genie, so he can be.
Yeah, he can be anything.
He can be African.
Yeah, he can be black, like in the Broadway version.
Yeah,
black,
James Monroe Iglehart. Yeah, if you haven't at least listened to the Broadway soundtrack, you need to. That guy won the Tony for being the genie for a reason.
It's amazing.
And speaking of genie, I think the choice of Will Smith as the genie was a good casting choice, because, face it, nobody can replace Robin Williams, because, he was Robin Williams. Rest in peace, Robin Williams.
Yes.
But Smith had made the role his own, and I think he added more of his homeboy hip-hop flair to it. That's the best way I can describe
90s
it.
Will Smith breaking through from a great movie from the 90s.
I even rewatched a couple of clips of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of where you pulled your genie from, isn't it?
Will Smith had really big shoes to fill, and I love the take that he did on this character, but at the same time it has to be really difficult to make a character your own when it's so intertwined with the voice actor, because Robin Williams was such an amazing stand-up comedian, and he had a team of very talented animators bringing his improv to life.
Yeah, Robin Williams had his thing with caricatures, and obviously a lot of his lines in the movie were improvised by Robin Williams himself, so Will Smith couldn't really take all those lines.
Yeah, I wish that they had him use more of his own material instead of trying to adapt a lot of the things that Robin Williams said to live action, because I think that would have worked much better.
Well, I think that's kind of what they did. The whole I can't have anybody love anybody or bring anybody back from the dead, I think was actually just in the original script.
Yeah.
So.
What happened to that not bring anybody back from the dead? They kind of just left that out for some reason.
Don't you mean not kill anybody?
Oh yeah, not kill anyone. I thought it was spring.
I don't know. Maybe they were planning to kill somebody?
This movie would have been so much shorter if he had just been kill Jafar.
Gosh, you're right. You are right. You are right. That is a plot hole. That is a plot hole. That is a plot hole. So one of the major additions to the new live-action remake that wasn't in the original was a new character named Dahlia, who was Jasmine's handmaiden. Now, initially, a lot of people were kind of against this, so why do we need a new character and all? And okay, one, Jasmine was the only female character in the entire movie, and two, it made no sense for her to have no handmaiden in the first place. Had you seen how empty the palace was in the animated version?
Huge.
Yeah, They're royalty. They should have servants, and all we see is Jafar and the guards. Like, where is everybody? Don't tell me the Sultan, like, cleans the palace himself and makes his own meals. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I loved her. I thought she was a great addition. She added a lot of lightness, and her little romance with
spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Oh,
Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
We should have put that in the beginning. Spoiler alert!
Spoiler right now.
Yeah, she was very entertaining. I think her blooming romance with the genie was adorable. That's what it was.
It was adorable.
Yeah, like, will you take a stroll with me? One more. And then she's like, yes.
And then Jasmine's like in the corner just cheering her on, like, yeah, go for it.
I love that little, gal pal friendship. We don't get enough of those in Disney princess films. Gal friendship.
We need more female friendships.
I mean, aside from like in Pocahontas and Princess and the Frog, we rarely get the female human best friends.
Yeah, especially in movies where the princess is the main character.
Yeah, it mostly just talks to animals, who are often male, it would seem.
Except for that one mouse in Cinderella, but for mice.
And it's actually interesting, I once had a fanfic idea involving, like, My Little Pony, and I wanted a whole Fluttershy Discord thing, if Discord is a genie, and I wanted him to, like, fall in love with the handmaiden, so they did my fanfic idea. They did!
You should sue.
Well, I never technically wrote it, so...
Here we go. I'm gonna butcher this name, so I apologize in advance. Mena Masad?
It might be Masood.
Masad?
We are so sorry.
I apologize.
Yeah.
He was really good. He was immediately Aladdin to me. I'm not sure if his kind of more, like, awkward, adorkable take on Aladdin was because of him or because of the direction or whatever, but for the most part, I liked it. He sounds like him, he got the mannerisms down and everything. He was great. He
was a bit less suave than the animated Aladdin, and I think that was intentional because one of the criticisms that especially one of my friends had was that, Aladdin might have been a bit too manipulative in trying to get what he wanted, but here it's like, he felt like it was necessary to keep up this lie because he couldn't be with the princess unless he was a prince, and also he had no idea what he was doing.
Oh my god. Yes. Part in the palace with the
jams. Yes, which makes sense because he's never been a prince before, so naturally he doesn't know how to fit into the role, and I think it just made more sense for the character.
It's Will Smith being hitched the whole time.
Yeah, Genie, the ultimate wingman.
Oh gosh, amazing. But he can sing, he can act. I really loved his dancing.
And another thing they did with the genie that was new, that he only wanted to be free, he wanted to become human, which was interesting because, in the original he, was free from the lamp, kept his powers, and of course led to 2 sequels and a spin-off TV series.
Yeah.
But in this case, we're not doing that, we're just doing that one remake movie.
Yeah.
And I thought it was... I liked that idea, because
me too.
It showed that what exactly he wanted to do with his freedom. He didn't want the power at all versus everybody who kept wishing for power. He just wanted a normal life, and eventually he got a wife and kids, and I thought it was cute how they opened it up on the ship where he's telling the story to his kids, even though it kind of just spoiled things for me a mile away. Because I recognized the back of the woman he was married to from the trailers, and I'm like, oh no, don't tell me he's gonna fall in love with the handmaiden, and after he's free, they decide to have a family. But it was still adorable.
Yeah.
And so, Jafar, he was, not as intimidating. I don't mind that he was slightly more attractive than the animated version.
Yeah, I don't mind that he was slightly more mellow either, but at the same time, he's not really threatening.
Yeah, not even in a subtle way. Well, not enough for me anyway.
Yeah.
Though I thought it was nice that they added a little more backstory as to why he wanted to be Sultan, that he used to be a thief and he'd been working his way up.
I like that shared backstory. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, and it related him more to Aladdin, which made Jafar a character foil to Aladdin. that, with Aladdin trying to become a prince, he was in danger of becoming Jafar. Getting what you want. The honest way versus the dishonest way.
Yeah, they seem to tweak the conflict that Aladdin had, where at first he lied to impress Jasmine and then he got in too deep, versus here where he lied to Jasmine to be with her, and then I guess he was kind of getting more uppity or more arrogant or something like that. It's a minor tweak, but I don't know.
And also with Jafar, there was this added little subplot that he wanted to invade a neighboring country, the country that Jasmine's mother had been born in. And not really explain why he wants to invade that country per se, but I can tell they were trying to relate it to modern times.
Yeah.
Because, there's a certain political leader in a certain country right now who's talking about others invading us, and so in turn we have to invade them, and... Yeah.
I get the commentary, it didn't do anything for me, because we never see the kingdom. We don't have any reason to care about these people, to care about why they're invading this country in the story that's supposed to be about Aladdin.
Although it was nice that they kind of mentioned a little bit about Jasmine's mother and how that's why the Sultan's not really up for letting her out, because he already lost his wife and he wants to keep his daughter close. It makes him seem a little bit less of a bad guy in the situation.
Just seems like a very overprotective father. Again, with the tweaking, Jasmine, instead wanting to marry the person she wants to for love, she wants to become the Sultan, but let's move on to her character first before we get into that.
Yeah, she's what I want to talk about. She was a lot less sassy than the animated version. That didn't really make me hate her at all or like her less than the original.
Yeah.
Here she was a bit more serious and educated, still got that strong will, of course.
Slightly more stoic, I guess.
Yeah. Which I thought it was kind of interesting how, this Jasmine, she had a ambitious goal and wanted to be Sultan, and, we need more female leaders out there.
I thought that she seemed just slightly more helpless in this version, because in the animated version, she just catapulted over the building when they were escaping being caught, and she played along with Aladdin's, "Oh, this is my sister," that whole thing. But here she's just kind of super clueless about what he's doing, and she was really scared about leaping over building to building.
Well, actually, it's a bit more understandable if you've never leaped over a building before. I don't know, I thought she was kind of... Well, because in the original, let's talk about Jasmine, was put in a lot more... Many more helpless situations, like made into a sexual slave for Jafar and chains.
They took that out.
Yeah. Let's face it, we could have lived without that. And also, she was trapped in the hourglass in that original one. But
I do kind of miss that, though.
Well, at least in the final battle, she was riding alongside Aladdin on the carpet and, helping him get the lamp.
Yeah, and then Jafar didn't turn into a giant snake. He didn't turn into a giant snake. He's just like, I'm just gonna make my parrot bigger.
Maybe they blew their CGI budget on the
Will
genie.
Smith.
Yes. Well spent, but...
Yes. I'll just say that Naomi Scott is very talented. I love her. I love all of the leads in this movie, and I hope that they go places.
Yeah,
they got some very talented people.
Also, one other character that was changed was the Sultan. Obviously, he's less goofy and childlike, and he's a bit more of a serious ruler.
Yeah, that's something that I also, it's like one of the only things that I unequivocally liked in the Beauty and the Beast remake, how they took Maurice, who was similarly very man-childish, and he's just like, a sensitive clockmaker. He just wants to live his life with his daughter, and the Sultan here is kind of the same thing. They brought him down to earth. He just wants to be you know, with Jasmine, he doesn't want her to go out and, like, kind of leave him because he's very overprotective, assumably because...
I mean, he's still trying to marry her off, but he also
but he
wants...
kind of has to, I guess.
He also wants her to find a suitable husband, not like that, kind of weird... What was he supposed to be from? That like, one of the few white guys in the cast.
Country.
Yeah, one of the few white guys in the cast.
Oh my gosh. Want to talk about the musical?
Yeah, let's move on to the songs. Okay,
Yes.
One, it is great that once again they brought back Alan Menken to redo the score for another one of his movies, like they did with Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
Two, they brought in some new lyricists to add some new lyrics and write a couple more songs, and this was Pasek and Paul, who you may know them from their work on The Greatest Showman and Dear Evan Hansen. Of course, one of the songs that was changed the most was Arabian Nights. The lyrics were tweaked a whole bunch, and I think it was actually better because it kind of alluded more to ancient Arabian culture than the previous one did, and also took out the line, you know, it's barbaric, and changed it to it's chaotic, because, there. And also, some other lines were changed to be more respectful and accurate for Muslim culture. Like instead
they changed Sunday Salam to Friday.
Yeah, because Friday's a holy day for Muslims. You gotta wonder why they didn't change that in the Broadway version, though.
I guess it has to do with just alliteration over accuracy.
True, maybe. Of course, also I noticed that in the crew there were a whole bunch of Middle Eastern names. I don't know the specific language, though. So, clearly a lot more Middle Eastern people worked on this movie than in the original one. That might be why there were some changes.
Although I can't hate it, because animation is a completely different department than live-action filmmaking, and I don't think you could just up and move your animation studio to wherever. Besides, most of it's animated in Korea.
Yeah, this one didn't have as many new songs as, like, Beauty and the Beast did. One of the new songs was Speechless, a song for Jasmine, which you gotta admit was missing from the original. I mean, Jasmine did have her own song in the Broadway version, These Palace Walls, and this one,
yeah, why did you just put that in?
What did you think of the new Jasmine song?
I mean, on its own, I think it's fine, but in the movie, I feel like they really wanted this to be the Let It Go. It even has the same, like, choreography, her turning on the balcony and stuff. And
Scott can sing, that's for sure.
Yes, she can. And I think it would have worked better if they had just kept it in one space instead of having one section in the beginning after Jafar or whoever tells her to be quiet. And then, like, when Jafar's at, like, power and he's having them taken all away and stuff, she just bursts out in the song for no reason. And it kind of took me out of the movie.
Okay, maybe it was a little poorly placed.
I'll sing a song about not being speechless, but it's all gonna be in my head. I'm gonna Thanos everyone out of here.
Okay, and, definitely, I love the Beauty and the Beast remake. She doesn't. But I will say that this Aladdin remake had better singers than the Beauty and the Beast one.
Oh, yes. Oh, dear.
Sorry, Emma Watson, I love you, but...
You're not a very good singer. I love Emma Watson, too, but... Speaking of singing, I like Will Smith. I like when he can just do his own thing. He's clearly not, like, you know, a super trained singer for this style of music. You know, he's more hip-hop, R&B, that sort of thing.
Which is kind of why the song seemed like to be remixed into, well, a bit of traditional Arabian music and also some hip-hop. I think hip-hop. Yeah.
I liked his rendition of Arabian Nights, and I liked Prince Ali, but I would have liked it if they had just sped it up a tad. It seemed very lackluster.
I think there's a reason it was slowed down, you know, for choreography's sake, because, you know, they're actually marching on the elephants, which would not be as fast as you would have a cartoon elephant marching.
I mean, maybe if they had someone else directed, like Edgar Wright instead of Guy Ritchie. Or have whoever directed The Greatest Showman just to keep up the momentum. Like, it's not just choreography, it's also with camera shots and editing and things like that.
I thought the choreography was pretty pretty good. It really felt like it was appropriate for the location.
Again, Bollywood influences.
Yes.
While we're talking about dancing, let's talk about that backflip though.
Wait, in the party scene?
Yeah, in the party.
That was so fun. It was having Genie control Aladdin's dance moves.
I don't know if he had a body double or if it was really him or what, but he did such a good job at not only dancing but also making it look like he was being controlled by an outside force, and that has to be super hard. It
might have been a body double, because I remember in a featurette I saw in the theaters how Will Smith and Meba Masood, forgive me if I said the name wrong. And anyway, they were playing this best friends question thing, and to see how well they knew each other. Like, okay, my favorite dance move is, and Will Smith is like, learn how to dance. So maybe he's not as good a dancer, or maybe not as good as Will Smith. But.
So if that wasn't him, then shout out to the body double, just in case.
Yeah, Friend Like Me, I can tell a lot of people were thinking, oh, so Friend Like Me is going to be turned into this rap thing. I mean, they kind of teased it before, like, Willy Baba had them 40. I cannot rap. And then, of course, Len's just like,
he's like, really?
Oh, what, not enough for you? All right. We get into it.
And then we got into it. I love that.
That went by really, really fast, actually.
Yes. Again, Will Smith doing his own thing. See, this is what I meant when I was talking about having the animators and Will Smith and everyone sort of come up with their own thing. Because near the end, where the genie's hand comes up and it's like this, and it's kind of controlling Aladdin like a marionette, that was really creative. I love that. I wish we could have seen more of that. I mean, again, it wasn't in the cartoon, but it didn't have to be. It was good on its own. I loved it so much more than Beyond Beast.
Yeah, so, A Whole New World, I will say it was sung very well, though we were kind of disappointed how it didn't have as many locations as the original had.
They went outside.
Although apparently, and I noticed this and I checked it on IMDb, they did briefly go into the Pride Lands, foreshadowing to the next Disney live-action remake. That was a cute detail.
That would have been funny if they were, like, remaking Hercules and then they just had them visit all of the locations for the live-action remakes.
Well, actually, in the TV series, they did have a crossover episode between Hercules and Aladdin. You should really check that out.
Oh, wow, I forgot about that
I'm not gonna spoil the whole thing, but just pretty much Jafar shows up in the underworld and makes a deal with Hades, and yeah. Okay, so let's just finish off with some of the plot holes that may or may not have been fixed.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's something that they did with the Beauty and the Beast live-action remake. They tried to fix as many plot holes as possible. Here,
they kind of ended up making more plot holes by fixing a plot hole that was there in the beginning.
Yeah, like, this is one of the biggest plot holes that I realized in the original, that, only one can enter the Cave of Wonders, and that is Aladdin. But he's able to go in with Abu, so the rule doesn't apply to animals. So why didn't Jafar send Iago in to get the lamp?
He literally could have just flown in there and gotten it.
And Iago's capable of stealing a lamp. We saw it in the original. We see him spying in the new one.
And he can fly, so he can get out faster.
Yeah.
The other super big plot hole that wasn't actually a plot hole, I guess, but they felt some need to correct it, was Jasmine and the Sultan and Dahlia all seem to have that disease where you can't tell a person's face after seeing them for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, because, Genie explains after Aladdin asks, won't people recognize me? Oh, no, the thing about Genie magic, I can make people see whatever they want to see. It makes sense to me, but...
But then it's like, how does Jafar see him, and for what reason would he have to want to see Aladdin if he can't, but he can? Like, I don't understand.
They don't explain that in this one. At least in the original, he saw the lamp, and, if they just put that together, had him seeing the lamp like he did in the original, because, Jasmine finding out who Aladdin is, well, that's because she's smart.
Yeah. And also, in the animated version, I think they had her believe that he was executed, so she would have no reason to think that he was Prince Ali. Also, she saw him for like 2 hours, and then the rest of the week, she didn't. So she really wouldn't have any reason to be able to recognize him after only seeing him for like 2 hours. And then she was like, something's weird when he does the "do you trust me" thing. And also, he doesn't have his hat. Which is apparently very good at hiding his identity.
Yeah. I do like how they did add more with Jasmine and Aladdin interaction. And, Jasmine had actually stretched the truth of her not being a princess and said that she was Dahlia, her own handmaiden. And yeah, I think that kind of points to one of the criticisms of Aladdin, of how Aladdin lied pretty much throughout the whole movie, but Jasmine had kind of lied too.
Yeah, I love that he turned it around on her. She's like, why are you a street urchin posing as why are you a prince posing as a street urchin? Why'd you lie to me? And then he flipped it around on her, and he's like, well, you did the same thing. And that always bugged me in the original, and I'm glad that someone pointed that out, because it's so true.
Yeah, so they're equally liars?
Yeah.
Is that
we
better
all
or
lie
worse?
Together.
And another cave rule that still they did not fix, touch nothing but the lamp. How in the original, when they had touched the magic carpet, nothing had happened, versus when Abu touched the ruby. But I think it might have been because the carpet was alive, but here, Aladdin not only touched the carpet, but when he was climbing the cliff, he had tripped over a whole bunch of gold coins.
Yeah.
And, when Abu touches the ruby for like 2 seconds, they're like, you have touched the forbidden treasure. I'm like, but he just touched a whole bunch of coins. Why does this warrant destruction?
How does the cave know whether you picked something up or whether you just knocked something over and it's not there anymore? Like,
I wish they'd fix that. I wish they'd fix that. But they didn't. And, because at least in the Broadway version, the carpet didn't come until after the cave. The genie brought the carpet.
Yeah.
And also, he didn't have Abu in the Broadway version. So, shrug. Yeah, and one more thing, didn't really exactly fix the Jafar having the staff already controlling the Sultan. Why does he need the genie plot hole? I think they might have hinted a bit that it was because the Sultan and Jasmine still had their own free will. I mean, when he was hypnotizing the Sultan, Jasmine walked in and just snapped the Sultan out of it.
Yeah.
Like, maybe his power had limits, and even after he'd wished to become Sultan, the guards weren't completely loyal to him. And that's why he needed the genie, because people had their own strong will, and Jafar had to be able to control that. And he could only control one guy at a time.
One at a time.
But still, dude, you're already pretty much running this country.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the guy in the prison pointed that out. Like, you already are the second in command.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jafar is just kind of triggered by that word. Just straight up killed the guy.
That poor guy. He got pushed through the moon door. I felt so bad.
Yeah, but overall, I think the film, it was kind of more respectful to Muslim culture. Took out some of the stereotypes that my Islam professor had pointed out in the original movie, like that almost hand chopping scene that was taken out, and that the clothes were a lot less revealing, and also goodbye sword swallowers and fire eaters. Yeah, I mean, I took religious studies, and this seemed a lot less stereotypical. Of course, I'll have to get some more perspective from actual Muslims to see how they feel about this remake. And, would you say this was better than the original, or...?
I'd say, it's not bad, but I wouldn't say that it's better than the original just because they took out, I'm glad they took out some of the really cringy aspects of the original. But I think the biggest thing that hurts the movie for me is that Aladdin is just kind of being overshadowed in his own movie. I'm happy that, Jasmine has more things to do, but I could have done without that whole, I want to be Sultan, we gotta invade other countries or they'll invade us or whatever. Because, again, it just kind of it took over Aladdin and his own movie because it's not her story, even though she is a big part of the Disney Princess franchise. It's about Aladdin. But
what I did like about Aladdin and Jasmine, from the beginning is that they were equals, pretty much. Like, they were equally smart and equally witty, and also going on adventures together in the spin-offs. So I didn't really mind that so much, because, you know, when you're going to do a romance, you're going to want to spend about as much time with the love interest as you are with the main person.
Yeah.
In order for it to be believable. At least it's what I think about romance. Though, whether it's better than the original, I'd say, for me, it's a toss-up, because there are some things I like better in this one, some things I like better in the other one. Like, of course, give me Jonathan Freeman's voice in Jafar anytime.
Oh, gosh.
I know he couldn't have played it in here, because he's white.
I mean, it didn't stop him from doing all the stupid brown face.
Didn't stop him from doing it on Broadway, either.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know about that.
Y'all. Shout out to the costume designers. The costumes were amazing. They're gorgeous.
Jasmine gets more than one outfit.
She does.
I mean, aside from the slave outfit.
What was that line that Dahlia was saying when she was like low-key roasting Jasmine? Oh yes, I'll get you dressed with every single dress for different times of the day. I would watch a spin-off, like, mini-series if it was just those two. Like, I'd pay to see that.
You know, actually, I don't know if they're still going through with this. They did talk about possibly doing a movie called Genies, talking about how the genie got in the lamp in the first place.
Huh.
I don't know if they're still doing that. They've talked about it, but I thought it was an interesting concept.
Yeah, that is I wouldn't hate seeing that. I'd like to see that. That'd be fun.
But they actually still have Will Smith. That's what I'd like to know. Or you're just gonna have a totally different genie entirely.
It's like Jamie Foxx is the genie that turns Will Smith into a genie.
I guess he's shape-shifting.
It's just a never-ending chain of genies being turned into genies.
Okay, well, we hope this video fulfilled all your wishes of what you wanted to know about the new Aladdin.
Yes. And tell us what you think about the movie. You know, what were the pluses, what were the minuses? Was there anything that you felt was improved or not as good as the original? Just, like, leave some below.
Yeah, and be sure to subscribe and check out our Patreon. Will be links in the description below.
So we can give you better quality content.
Also, check out my YouTube channel, Disney Fanatic 2364, and my podcast, Beauties and Beasts, in which I talk about fairy tales, and I talk about the live-action Beauty and the Beast, if you want to hear my opinions on that one.
Yes. So, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.